The following podcast contains coarse language and adult themes. This week on the show, we're eating the inside of a McMuffin, listening to the Smiths, and having drinks with Tilda Swinton. Is it Tilda Swinton?
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it?
You got it right.
I'm just going to keep that in the intro. Anyway, we're talking about David Fincher's The Killer. I'm Reegs.
I'm Maddie.
And this is the Film Addicts podcast. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Film Addicts podcast, and welcome to you, Tilda Swinton, first-time listener. Sorry, I thought I mispronounced your name, but I didn't. Here we are. We're back. It's The Killer, and this came out of us watching Seven to do an episode, and Addie was like, I tried to do an impersonation of your accent then in my head, and I thought that's going to be incredibly inappropriate. You said unto me, I haven't seen The Killer, and I say unto you, watch that shit, and you said, okay, and then you sent me messages like, yep, it's an episode. So we're back talking about The Killer from 2023, which was my favourite movie of that year, tied with Oppenheimer. So I'm very excited. But before we get into the killing of it all, how are you, sir?
I'm okay. I think I have a cold because I woke up with one. So I don't know.
Oh, terrific. Well, just get some Demazin. Do you have Demazin over there?
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's like a cold and flu medicine, and it's bright blue, and I don't think it's good for you. I don't understand why anyone would give something that colour to a child. But anyway, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. What else has been happening?
Nothing much.
How's school?
Please don't. I have that.
No?
I have that too much with too many people already. I don't want to talk about school.
Totally fair. People always ask you that, you run into them, they're like, oh, how's work? I'm like, it's the fucking same pretty much as the last time I told you it's my job and you know what it is. Why don't we talk about something real? Why don't you ask me how I feel? Ask me about, how are you sleeping? Have you got over the obsessive masturbation thing yet? Can you please just invest in my life?
Have you?
No, absolutely not. I'm doing it right this very now.
I'm sorry.
That is what it sounds like. I tapped my microphone. What a dickhead. Anyway. Oh, we're off the rails already. Yes. So how are you in yourself? Are you well? What the fuck was that you just drank out of? That's like a comedy-sized drink. And he just lifted this huge soda cup to his mouth. It was like a gag. It looked like a mega gulp.
Oh, what?
A mega gulp. What are they called? The big gulps in the States that you get from 7-Eleven. Those huge fucking...
It's a wicked cup.
Oh, that's cool. It looks really big by comparison to your head.
It is. It's quite large.
Okay. You have to put a photo of it up on the Instagram now. Just in case you weren't aware as well, folks, we now have a dedicated Instagram account for the Film Addicts podcast. It's just the Film Addicts podcast, all one word, where you can see a cup the size of Addie's head. And a bunch of other cool shit too, but that's why you go there right now. But yeah, you're all right, you're well?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? How are you sleeping?
Oh, like fucking rubbish at the moment. Just like 2-3 hours here and there, and I might even sound a bit because I'm a bit wrecked. But I had to get up early this morning to go and pick up Emily because she went hot air ballooning, and she got up really early to go do that, and then I had to get up early to go and pick her up from the place where they fly to. I just assume you'd land in the same spot, but you don't. You fly somewhere and then land elsewhere, and I had to take her back to her car. So yeah, it's just been an early morning. But another thing that we've been doing, Emily and I, she's about to go on tour for months. So we've been rewatching the Avengers movies.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. First time in a good long while. I think the last time we watched them was when we did a Marvel run during COVID, so it was like 2020. Might have even been 2021. But we'll talk about that in what we're watching. Have you been watching anything cool?
I have.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get right the fuck into it. What are we? I got in before ya.
Watching?
Cheeky fuck. Yes, you cheeky fuck. What are we watching? Oh, God. Okay, what are we watching? I'm just going to go first. Because, the Avengers movies, I think they're really good. They really hold up, and they're even better now considering how overstuffed the market is and how much Marvel's put out and how they were kind of almost untouchable for a long time there, especially after the first Avengers movie came out and made all the money. But it's really good. You know, Joss Whedon, despite being not a very good person, he's a fucking prick is what he is. He's a misogynist and a horrible dude. But he can put a story together, that's for sure. His dialogue is not great. He's not a very good director of actors either, but I don't know how difficult. It depends, because, I mean, you look at something like Firefly, Serenity, completely different box of frogs, but maybe this is a bit different. I don't know, because it's such a big thing. But watched Ultron as well. I mean, that movie lives or dies on James Spader's performance. So, But yeah, I don't think he's a great director of actors, but he understands story and structure really well, and that's why those films work. And Infinity War we watched last night, and it still hits hard, that ending. With just remembering the feeling of just the sinking stomach of like, oh shit, they didn't win, and that beautiful piece of score at the end, the Alan Silvestri score, as Thanos sits on the porch and smiles and surveys his good works, and then the fucking movie ends, and it's outrageous that they had so much clout they could get away with it. And I feel like that's what they're trying to recreate with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, remember when we did the biggest thing ever? Well, we're going to do it again, and you're going to be just surprised. I don't know if it's going to come off, but it certainly did have an effect again last night, watching it for the first time in how many years. And the only other thing I watched was Black Bag, Steven Soderbergh's new picture, with Fassbender and Blanchett, two of my favourite performers. It's really good. It's not what you think it is. It's a lot more of I thought it was like a Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy style kind of thing. Even Fassbender's performance is very smiley. Not that he smiles a lot, the character of Smiley from Tinker Tailor. And Kate's wonderful in it. And it's kind of like a domestic spy thriller. I don't want to say too much because it'll ruin it, but David Koepp's probably one of his best screenplays, I reckon. And it was not at all what I was expecting, and I loved it. Some old people walked out, though. They didn't like it.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, they weren't digging it. I don't know why. And they're probably, they have less time on their hands, so they're like, "Now, fuck this. I want to go home and watch..." What's something old people would watch? Murder, She Wrote. That's a trope. Gonna go home and watch Bridge on the River Kwai, which is a fucking good idea because that movie is awesome. Anyway, that's what I've been watching. What about you, friend?
The only time I've had people walk out is Babylon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Was it someone getting pissed on in the first 2 minutes?
It wasn't even that. The first time I saw people walk out was their elephant shit.
Really? God, we're so fucking repressed, aren't we? We're just such a fucking weird, chaste society. People fuck and get shit on by elephants. All right, it's a real... Not that those two things should happen concurrently.
But you said it that way, though.
But no, it's true. Like, whatever you're into, as long as an elephant can't consent. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that movie is filled with debauch and shit happens, and don't pretend like it doesn't. This fucking weird, what's the word? Puritanical idea of what human interaction is, especially when it comes to sex, is fucking boring. It's 2025. Nobody's straight anymore. Get on it. Just do what you please. As long as it's all consensual, have a great time. Sorry. So you bet people walked out of Babylon.
I finished my watch of Critical Role's Campaign 3. That was a tough one. Mm-hmm. The last episode was 8 hours long.
I don't know where you find the time.
And since I'm a purist in that way, or a perfectionist, I don't know. I I did not watch it in I did not speed it up. I did not watch it on 2.5x.
I didn't know you could do that, but okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd drive me fucking nuts, hearing people talk faster and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not for me.
I thought that it would work, and then I tried it for 5 minutes, and then it was getting to a point where everybody sounded like a chipmunk. I was like, I can't do this. I'll just watch the 8 hours.
It's not Christmas. No one's called Alvin in that show. I'm positive there's no Alvin in Critical Role.
Not yet.
Not yet. Any minute now. Someone's going to name a dwarf Alvin.
Cool.
Did you enjoy it though? That's the more important thing.
Yeah, I did. I wept a lot as well. Because it's not only is it not only is it a conclusion to a story that started 10 years ago, it's also a conclusion to 3 campaigns, 3 different sets of groups that I've followed for I wouldn't say 10 years, but the last 7. I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm also going to miss it a lot. And for campaign 3 started in the end of 2020 or early 2021. And the fact that the entire story takes place in a it's not even 4 months is insane. It's really fun. I won't recommend it because it's not for everybody to watch.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of videos on YouTube that I watch on cinematography that would bore people into becoming stones. So yeah, I mean, it's just, you're into what you're into. Yeah,
that was the big one. I watched the finale of Severance season 2 yesterday, which was quite something. There were choices made that I did not like, and then there were choices made that I loved, which is good in the end.
Yeah, it can't be exactly what you want, otherwise it would be boring,
Yeah.
Everybody be having the same thing.
Apple TV renewed it. They renewed it for season 3.
They would have to. It's probably one of their biggest shows apart from Ted.
I think it has surpassed Ted, at least with season 2. Because when season 1 came out, not a lot of people watched it. But from what I've gathered, a lot of people have watched season 2.
That's the thing about Apple shows. They need 1 or 2 seasons for people to go, hey, are you watching this shit because it's really good? Because they fucking don't promote. They're really bad at promoting their own shit.
Yeah. That is so true.
Silo is amazing, and nobody knows what it is. Unless you have the service, you wouldn't just jump on it for no reason, because they only have their own content. They don't have licenses or anything. So yeah, it's a hard sell.
Yeah.
But so that, all of my favorite shows are on it. Fucking Ted, Sugar, Silo, Severance, absolutely. Great miniseries as well. It's just, we did our best of, and what was it, 6 or 7 out of the top 10 shows from last year were fucking that.
Yeah.
Ted's getting a 4th season.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, can't be missed. So Critical Role, lots of that good stuff. I hope you enjoy. What else?
Yeah, I'm talking about Apple TV miniseries. There's one with Chris Evans called Defending Jacob, it's quite good.
So one of the first ones they did. Yeah.
That's insane though, right? Because I watched it when it was airing. And if that's the first one, one of the first ones out of the gate that they did, that means I've been watching it since its birth.
Yeah. It's a one of those prestige ones because they've got a lot of money.
That is true. Yes.
A lot on that service. They can get people. They can get stars to come and do work. You don't get Ben Stiller to come and run. Well, he doesn't know a showrunner, but you don't get him to come and do that show without creative control and money. It feels like an independent in a lot of ways, which is weird. If it was a comic company, it would be Image,
Yeah, definitely.
as opposed to being Disney or Marvel. Disney or Marvel is, Marvel's definitely Disney, so it's fine, but, DC would be Warner Brothers or whatever. So, yeah, I like what they do over there. It's interesting shit. Dark Matter's awesome.
Yeah, Dark Matter.
The Joel Edgertons. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, fucking mush. We're actually, little plug. Do you want to plug?
Yes, let's do it.
It was your idea.
Oh, shit. Was it? It was.
Yeah,
what
you were like, hey, do you want to, how we did the reviews for Hawkeye? Do you want to do it for Daredevil Born Again? I say yes, and then you tell people about it now. You tell the people.
Yes. So we're doing on our we're doing collaborative posts on our personal Instagrams. We're doing written reviews, spoiler free, for Daredevil Born Again. But we are going to talk a little bit about spoilers here. If you haven't seen episode 4, skip a little bit.
Okay, excellent. I feel like it's hard to do not spoilers for this show because anything can be classed as a spoiler, but in this episode, Frank's back.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing for me was, like I said in my review, it's 2 really good actors who care about their characters and who understand their characters so wholly. So much so that John Bernthal rejected previous scripts. They had to keep rewriting and rewriting until he said yes, because he was like, it's not Frank and it's not going to do him justice. And then when you see his return and him and Matt have it out about their ideologies and their processes of how they deal with these things, and Matt is fighting really hard to defend the system that he's a part of, even though he has seen it fail twice that day with people of color, with minorities in Hell's Kitchen. One who lost their uncle and one who had been so marginalized by the system that he couldn't even see where he began and it started anymore, or it ended rather. And when he talks about that first time they name check Bullseye as well.
Yeah.
This is what talk about Dexter and or Poindexter rather. And Matt's like, I let the system handle him, and he's like, yeah, how did that work out for you? And back and forth, and eventually Matt screams through tears, he got life. And Frank says, oh yeah, and what did old Foggy get? Did he get life? And it was just it's 2 actors in a room, well lit, with some real drama. Like, that's what this show is about. He hasn't even been in costume yet, apart from the opening scene of the first episode. And it's still the most gripping shit that Marvel's done since Endgame, in my opinion. I just think it's great. This and Hawkeye are really, really the high watermarks for proper drama that's happening on screen.
I do not like this episode one bit.
What the fuck in my hole? Oh, Riggs has left the chat. Cancel. We're cancelled. This is the end of the show. We're episode 59, and we're fucking over it. Why? Why didn't you like it? That's fine. You can have a difference of opinion.
Oh, after that big of a scolding, no thank you.
It was a meltdown, sorry.
Yeah, as soon as Frank showed, I was like, okay, I know you're going to like it a lot.
No, not necessarily, but the scene's excellent. It's an excellent scene. It's really well written. It's really well performed. Like, it can't be denied,
It's probably the second best scene of the entire show so far.
What was the first?
When Hector is talking to Matt about the frogs. I love the scene. I love it a lot. However, I don't know how we got there. Like, it seems so disjointed from the rest of the episode, especially with what they had Fisk do in this episode. It felt very disjointed.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It sort of came out of nowhere, but I think he can find Frank. He knows he's keyed into his heartbeat. He does it with She-Hulk. He knows once he's heard your heartbeat, it's like a fingerprint. He can follow it anywhere, and he found the shell casing. Like, that's how it got there. I think he always knew Frank was in town, but we didn't know that because last time we saw Frank, he was, he wasn't in New York. So yeah, but it's like that with all the stuff with James Gandolfini's son, and I know he's a perfectly legitimate actor in his own right, but I keep forgetting his name. I just know him as someone Gandolfini. And all the processes and stuff of Wilson Fisk. It was a weird. But then again, having said that out loud, it's them dealing with the inadequacies of their professions. Him trying to do my royal. He's trying to do my royal. Fuck off. He's trying to do mayoral. Oh, fuck. A mayor's Oreos. Really important. Mayoral. I think that's it. His duties as a fucking mayor is the point, Oreos. and he keeps coming up against these procedure and protocols and all that stuff, and he can't get the shit done. So he's thinking about, I want to do crimes. And shut up, that's not laughing at my Oreos. And that's a weird sentence. Hey, you there, you. Stop laughing at my Oreos, all right? They're not funny, they are chocolatey. Oh, fuck. So ridiculous. Stop laughing at my Oreos. Can someone put that on a t-shirt for me? And it's like Oreos laughing at each other, like pointing. That'd be great. Okay, hang on a minute. All Oreos dressed up as clowns or something. Anyway. And then oh no. Oh god, I'm going to have to cut it out. Hasn't been that bad since fucking Tommy came on with his goddamn sandworm nipples and we lost our minds. Okay. Remember the sandworm nipples? Oh shit. Check out our Dune 2 episode, everybody. With Tommy from Podcast Assemble. And then Matt's dealing with the system that he works for failing. So it kind of makes sense, like, thematically what's going on. But yeah, the editing wasn't great.
I'm so sorry.
All of that to just get to that one stupid, irrelevant point. Fucking hell, is anyone even listening anymore? Hi, Chaz.
Yeah.
If there's I tell you, someone out there making fun of Oreos or laughing at people's Oreos, it's my man Chaz. He thinks Oreos are hysterical, I reckon.
I love how he went to my Royals fuck up. Stop laughing at my Oreo.
My Royals, fuck off. You know when you make a mistake when you're talking, you just tell yourself to get fucked? Shut up, idiot. Yeah. And we got to... my Royal to stop laughing at my Oreos. Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
Okay, we have a good time. It's a ball here. Here we go.
A ball full of Oreos.
Do you want to talk about the episode any further? I made my point.
It's a ball full of Oreos.
It is a bowl full of Oreos. Do you know Oreos are vegan as well? It's one of those accidentally vegan things.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic.
Huh.
Those and Sour Patch Kids.
Ooh.
And pussy. Okay, no.
No! What are you doing?
I don't know. Okay.
I have to save the segment.
What are we even... I don't know. I think I'm going to have to just cut all the fuck-ups into one big fuck-up cut and let everybody enjoy it.
You know what's the most fucked up thing about this episode?
We're 27 minutes in, I don't know.
Of Daredevil Born Again is that Fisk goes to a school where this thing, we built this city, and then he goes to a Latvian Heritage Day, and they're saying, we built the city in Latvian, sorry.
And, there's nothing worse than being in a room where people are singing and it's awful. Because you can't look away. It's just, oh, fuck. Because a lot of people think they can sing, and a lot of people can't. And that's okay. Not everyone can, but it's terribly awkward when it happens.
Oh, man.
It's also really awkward when they laugh at your biscuits.
Shut the fuck up. I'm so
Don't laugh at my biscuits is slightly more it's a bit more of a euphemism. You know, when you say Oreos, you think you mean actually Oreos. But when you say don't laugh at my biscuits, that means I have weird shaped testicles and you think they're funny.
What?
Nobody isolate that, please. Nobody isolate that particular bit of soundbite where I just said I have weird testicles and you think they're funny. Someone's going to do it now. I shouldn't have attempted the fates. Okay. Do we even have a show anymore? Have we gone too far?
Yes, fuck this. I watched Paddington for the first time.
Great, cool. Let's get off Born Again because fuck my hole. The first one or the Peru one or what happened?
He said fuck.
What have you done?
He said fuck my Oreos.
Fuck my Oreos. Don't fuck my Oreos either. You'll crush them. You'll ruin them.
Yes, Paddington. I watched it for the first time with my brother, and we really liked it. We enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I never thought that I'd like Paddington just because it was so English.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, because he hasn't.
They would say, "Don't fuck my Jaffa cake," though, because they fucking love them. People love Jaffa cakes over there. Don't laugh at it. Don't fuck it or laugh at it.
Mm-hmm.
Jaffa cake. Okay, sorry. I always get it mixed up with Christopher Robin.
With Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor? Yeah. Is it as gut-wrenching as that?
I wouldn't say so. I haven't watched Christopher Robin, mainly because Leanne told me not to, because I would be a mess.
She knows you well enough to know that that's probably a bridge too far for you on the emotional sort of side of things, yeah.
It's a fun, good holiday family film. With an actually well. Oh my god! What the fuck?
It's one of those days.
I was gonna say with an actually well circumcised message. That's not it.
That's a message that doesn't have a tip.
It's just the message straight up.
It's just the message and shaft. Come on. We haven't even begun talking about the fucking movie. We haven't even done the news yet. Half an hour of this. Shit. Sorry, everyone. I hope you're getting something out of this because my stomach hurts. My stomach hurts from all the sin that's going on right now. All the talking about sin. Anyway.
It's all them fucking Oreos.
Did you like the movie?
Yes, I did like the movie. And I watched... I really want to talk... What the fuck, man? I want to talk about...
We've gone too far now. We can't stop. We have to go through. The only way out is through. It's the killer episode. Let's do it. He would finish. No, he would finish. He would commit to the job and he would get it done.
Anticipate, don't improvise.
Exactly, that's right.
Yeah,
Anticipate, don't improvise.
I went and watched Mickey 17 yesterday. Oh man, so good. It's so fucking good. It's so weird and so good and has a surprisingly effective yet important message.
But don't clone people.
Well, that too, but also it's not that. Like honestly, by the end of it, you don't even care that they were clones because it's not really that. However, it is about what was that?
It's some dude over the fence fucking building a fucking kayak or something. I don't know what he's doing over there, but he's whittling a chair. It's loud, whatever's going on. I apologise, everybody. I might be able to mix it out, but there might be some every now and again.
Yeah, okay. So Mickey 17, however, it is the film where Mark Ruffalo plays Trump, but in space.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Space Trump. Just what space needs.
Yeah.
As if there's not enough shit going on up there with the no atmosphere and the complete lack of life forms as far as the eye can see. You've got to stick Trump up there as well. Wonderful. Well, I love Mark Ruffalo, so I'll watch anything he watches. Anything he's in, rather. Yeah,
I think Robert Pattinson is just great in everything that he does.
He's an excellent actor.
Yes, but he's like there's another layer of just brilliance that he brings to this project, and it's super fun. He's super goofy, and by the end of it, you understand what Bong Joon-ho is trying to say. And if you don't, It's a weird film that has a weird 2-act structure.
Well, he's one of the most interesting directors working today.
Yeah. Are you stuck?
No, you were stuck.
Okay.
We were both stuck. Stuck between two delicious chocolate biscuits and wear the cream in the middle, buddy. Click, and you open it up and have a lick. It's amazing. Anyway, yes. Wonderful. Shall we get on with some news then?
Let's get on with some news.
Fucking please. Nerd news. That was outrageous. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's going to be the most... I might just leave it. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. Superman box office pressure rises. Expert DC says DC has to save Warner Brothers. Okay. Whatever.
We knew that already, didn't we?
That movie is not going to do the business they think it is, I don't reckon. They want it to do really, really big business, and I just don't think it's going to happen. Nicolas Cage. That's it. He's the news. He's news. Nicolas Cage, and God bless him. No, he's in the Spider-Man Noir series, which is coming out on fucking Amazon. Is that right?
Yeah, because Sony has this weird deal with Amazon where original content goes on Amazon, but like theatrically released content first goes to Netflix. Then if it's a Marvel property, it would go to Disney Plus. If it's not, then it will go to Amazon. It's fucked. Like it's not even television rights. It's even fucked because it's streaming rights. And the thing with streaming rights is that you basically have rights to something that really doesn't exist physically. That's why it's so fucked.
Very, very weird. But anyway, Spider Noir is the live action series based on the character that he actually voiced in those movies. And apparently they filmed it with all black and white monitors. So they might release it in black and white, which I think is the move anyway. I would have assumed they were going to do that.
Yeah. Just don't have color until
the costume looks fucking amazing. What was that, sorry?
Costume looks fucking amazing. I said that don't have color until like Miles shows up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Very cool. This is just a really quick one. James Cameron's wife, in quotation marks, bawled for hours after watching Avatar 3. So would I.
Because of how long it is? Yeah, definitely.
Is that because it goes for 17 days? Fucking hell. Nah, no shade to people who like Avatar. If you like Avatar, I'm sure you're looking forward to Fire and Ash or Wind and Ice or whatever the fuck.
Oh, it's Avatar. Oh god, I shouldn't say it. Never mind. Moving on.
No, it's Avatar Chocolate and Cream. Num 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 num. Don't go num 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 on a podcast, Riggs, because it sounds creepy. Like if you see someone do that and they go, oh, num num num, because they've had something nice to eat, and you look at their face, you're like, oh, they're enjoying that food. But when they do it over a podcast and they go num num num, it sounds dirty. So I apologise to everybody out there with a hard on now. Don't shake your head at me like you fucking started this business 3 years ago and this is where we are. So just lay in your bed and you made it. And I've had 2 hours sleep. 2. I'm running on fucking Oreo business. Okay. District 9's Neil Blomkamp is making a new Starship Troopers adaptation. Now, Starship Troopers, which was originally directed by Paul Verhoeven, a film that came out in 1997, was based on a book, and he made it much more satirical, like, you know, the sort of rah-rah military sort of conscription thing and, you know, youth in battle and all that stuff. That wasn't in the film as much. And so, yeah, he's going back to the original source material from the 1959 book by Robert H. Heinlein. Very cool. I really like Starship Troopers. I think it's a great film. The acting is terrible, but they didn't know that they were doing it terrible.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
So it's like The Room.
Yeah, it is, actually. They think they're really doing some great work, and they are. Like, it's a good movie. Neil Patrick Harris is awesome in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he plays like a super intelligent military strategist, and there's a lot of cool CG fights and big bugs and military stuff and sexy ladies and sexy men, and it's very Paul Verhoeven, but they're all taking it completely seriously, which is why it's so funny. But it's absolutely well worth your time. So yeah, I'm happy for whatever goes on there. Ted Lasso renewed for a 4th season at Apple TV Plus. After months of speculation, Apple TV Plus has officially renewed its award-winning series Ted Lasso for a season 4. Jason Sudeikis will return both to star and executively produce, which makes a surprising return for this series that became a global phenomenon and a smash hit for people looking for positivity.
It's also going to focus on the women's team, right?
I hope so. I think that's the move. It'd be great to see some of those cats come back, you know. Roy Kent's off doing Shrinking.
Yeah,
like he's in that, and he's also writing it and show running it and stuff. Yeah. Like he's busy doing that. You know, it'd be really good to just see Beard come back, absolutely, and have them coach a female team.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Beard stayed behind, remember? So he's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be
right.
there.
Yeah, so he's already there. Yeah. Well, that's absolutely the move.
I just want Rebecca to return. Like that's all.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Absolutely. Yeah, it can't be missed. Yeah, it's such a great show. I go back to it occasionally, just drop in on an episode here or there, and just makes you feel good. Makes you feel good being human, and that's hard sometimes. It's a hard thing. Sometimes it's really hard being a human if you want to star in a movie that needs to change its name. Jenna Ortega, you know the Jenna Ortega?
Mm-hmm.
She's a Wednesday.
Yes.
And she's also Monday and Tuesday as well. So she's half the week.
What? What was that? Are you okay?
No, I'm having a good time. I'm just enjoying myself with silly puns. My dad would have loved that joke. That one's for you, Pops. I mean, it sounded like he was dead. He's not. He's totally alive. He might listen to this. I hope you enjoyed that joke, my alive father. Okay. Jenna Ortega may star in a new Single White Female remake. Do you know what Single White Female is?
No.
No. It was a thriller made in the either late 80s or early 90s, and it starred Jennifer Jason Leigh and Bridget Fonda. Not Bridget Fonda, Jane Fonda's... Was it Jane Fonda? No, it was Bridget Fonda. They fucked up here. It wasn't led by Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda was... She's the one who does all the exercise videos. Bridget Fonda from Jackie Brown and Jennifer Jason Leigh starred in this movie where it's a woman who puts out a want ad to get a housemate, like a roommate. And the person comes in and tries to kind of usurp her life. It's sort of like a Fatal Attraction sort of situation. But the movie's called Single White Female because that is the heading of the of the want ad. So she specifically asks for a single white female to live with. That's not great these days. You can't designate race in that. I don't think that's the right thing to do anymore. So maybe you just want to change the name of that film to Single Female or Single of Mixed Race Female. No, that's the same. That's the same. You can't do it. Just don't talk about race at all. A single female who likes Oreos. That's it. That's what the movie should be called.
Or even better, single Oreos with double cream.
Single Oreos. Have you had the mini ones?
I have. You know what's weird? They have like a cereal here with that. Like they used to.
No, they do not.
They used to. It's literally what? What do you call my mouth?
You heard me putting mini Oreos in there that are cereal? That's wild. Really?
I've never done that. I just told you that there is a thing like that.
I just made the assumption that if you had them in your vicinity, you'd do that. Because if I had those, I'd have a box in my mouth right now. Don't isolate that clip either. Oh, God. Okay. All that because of fucking Single White Female. Okay, last one, I promise, and then we'll get talking about the actual thing we're supposed to be here talking about. Colin Farrell, one of my favourite actors of all time, is in talks to replace Daniel Craig, which is ridiculous because he was never signed on or even interested in playing Sergeant Rock. But yeah, apparently Colin Farrell, who's, earned a lot of praise for playing the Penguin and also being a fucking steadily working actor for 20 years, is in talks to play Sergeant Rock in the World War II action movie directed by Luca Guadagnino. Fucking yes. The answer is yes. This comes after Daniel Craig, who had been considered for the role, officially moved on. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. He was like, fucking no.
Wait, what website are you reading?
I'm busy making
from?
Narnia stuff. What's that?
What website are you reading this from? Or what post?
No, I can't call it out because we follow them. So
okay, great.
Oh no, yes I can. It's Collider.
Collider, do a better job.
Dudes, my dudes. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, I'm. Are you excited for that movie? Do you have much relationship with Sergeant Rock?
Fuck no. You think?
Yeah.
I would have a relationship with Sergeant Rock?
I don't know. You never know what you're into. Like, I'm into some comics that you probably wouldn't guess I'm into. I don't know.
Like what? Like what? Give me 5.
Well, okay. Well, if you're thinking about like the kind of stuff that I talk about, like Daredevil and Punisher and the sort of grounded superhero shit, a lot of Frank Miller stuff like The Invisibles and like sci-fi, high concept sci-fi stuff, you wouldn't know that I fucking flat out adore Green Lantern.
I do
like,
know
I love
that.
all that space opera shit. No, you know that, but I'm saying like that's not something you typically put together. Like, you know, if you like a certain kind of comic, like a lot of Vertigo stuff or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go and pick up a Superman book, but I've got dozens of Superman books. You know, I love, especially the older stuff, you know, stuff they did in the 90s with Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. You know, it's fucking spectacular superhero affair. Yeah, we could be many things, we can. And one of the things we can be is a fucking stone cold killer.
I have something else to say.
You need to tell me that before I do the lead up, dude.
I'm sorry. I was still thinking about Oreos Hero.
Okay, that's. Can we talk about it more, please?
Oreos Hero?
Yes.
Yeah. So it used to come in packets, but
Okay.
like they only had like a few of them, so people got mad because and like I tried it once. There is so much sugar in that, so much that it's like eating 6 normal Oreos, and that's in this much of it.
Yeah. No. It's cereal in general. I was never much of a cereal eater, even when I was a kid. But if I was to have a bowl, if I have a glass of soft drink now, I remember we had a prop for a drink. I was doing some promotional real stuff for a bar. And just, you know, people drinking and having a good time and laughing. And I just wanted the last shot to be just a drink sort of bubbling, you know, all backlit and cool. So I just said, just give me a Coke and it'll look like a Jack and Coke. Just put one of those little straws in it, whatever. And then afterwards they were like, oh, you just have it. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. Because it was just normal Coke. And I had one sip and I was like, absolutely not. Nope. That is the fucked uppest thing that I've ever had in my mouth. It was fucking disgusting. I couldn't deal with it.
Oh, you know why I hate Coke so much? It's because
it's
it's technically pesticides. But what the fuck were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say because it took your virginity, but
What?
I
What?
don't know why. No. Oh, okay. It probably didn't.
I can assure you it didn't.
I can assure you Coke didn't. Why don't you like Coke? Because you're a Pepsi person.
That is true. But I'm also like whenever I drink Coke, it's like it makes my teeth rubbery. I don't like that very much.
Yeah, it's because it's fucking 700,000 pounds of sugar and your teeth are like, we can't deal with this. But you know who doesn't eat Oreo cereal? Fucking Michael Fassbender and his fucking tight bod playing the unnamed killer in
The Killer.
our main topic, which we finally got to. David Fincher's The Killer, based on the French graphic novel series. It's fucking excellent. It's just the fucking best. And I just want to hear how you feel about it, having seen it so recently for the first time. I'm not jealous because I don't get jealous. I'm so happy you got to see it for the first time, because when I saw it for the first time, it was on a whim. I went to the cinema and they weren't playing what I went to see. They'd cancelled the Serpico retrospective, you know, version they were doing. They're like, oh, no one bought tickets. I'm like, well, I'm here, motherfucker. I've got my Oreos and I'm ready to watch Serpico. And they were like, it's not playing. And I said, what else is on? And they say unto me, David Fincher's The Killer. And I'm like, oh, it's coming on Netflix, you know, in a couple of weeks. But that's okay. I'm here, might as well go. And I'm so glad I saw it at the cinema, because it's just, you know, it's perfect actual cinema going, which is ridiculous because it's a Netflix movie. But anyway, and I loved it so much that first time. How did you feel seeing it for the first time?
So honestly, I kind of fell asleep during the halfway point.
Great. I'm so glad we're doing an episode on it. Fuck.
No. I fell asleep like while he's still stalking the guy, like in the beginning, like waiting for him to show up.
Yeah.
It's not like he's there for like what, the first 20 minutes or so. Kind of fell asleep. It has more to do with me than the film.
It is very quiet and meditative most of the time. Like, it's so procedural. There's only like the kills are really punctuated, you know, quickly by large sporadic acts of violence, and then it's back to being a nice little quiet movie again. Even the long fight with the Brute, you know, in Florida. But anyway, sorry, you were saying.
it was weirdly meditative and fun, where I was enjoying more of his insight to what he's doing more than the action itself. By the end of it, I fell in love with just the way that it was written and shot, because you feel like you know the guy, but like he's barely said any dialogue the entire film. You don't even know his name, and it's so cool because you're like, I want to care about this person, but at the last shot, you don't know who he is. You don't know who he's sitting beside with. You just know that this is somebody that he cared about, and shit happened, and then he went and got shit done.
It's a full-on revenge picture in a lot of ways. But as I said, that opening scene where it's him, waiting it out and talking about if waiting's not for you, this isn't the right profession, and this is, you have to got to deal with it. And they say that sleep deprivation isn't a torture, and it is. He's got to wake himself up every 20 minutes to keep on this hit. And that kind of procedural nature of it. And I think the reason you feel so intimate with him is because despite his calculated coldness, he really does care about the young woman whose name you don't learn either, I don't think.
Yeah, no, nobody's names.
Yeah, you don't really, they're in a relationship, and he obviously met her like there, is it Dominican Republic?
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously met her there, and they just live together, and that's what's up. Like and they love each other, and that's it. And he goes after the people who try to hurt her because he botches this hit. But I think the reason you feel so intimate is because he's in your ear the whole time.
Yeah, definitely.
That voiceover is so. I mean, you pull that voiceover out, and it's the same as removing the interior monologue from The Dark Knight Returns. Like, you just lose so much of that character. And I think it's even more so because he is narrating it in real time. He stops mid-sentence sometimes. He's about to, he's got the gun out, and he's waiting, and he's talking about what he's doing, and he's, I've got to get my heart rate down to this, and it's got to be here, and the bullet with the glass, and if I've got a round doing this, and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, the door buzzes, and it cuts him off mid-sentence. And he's got to go to the door of the WeWork place, which I'll come back to in terms of product placement, but he goes over to the door and ready to kill someone. And then as soon as that threat passes, he gets back into his dialoguing. But so it's all happening in his head, And the Smiths music and stuff, it's like, it's so intimate to be in his head. You're literally in his head. It's not just someone telling you the story like Sin City, the movie, where it's just someone narrating, or The Spirit. Or, I'm just thinking of Frank Miller stuff for some reason. But I watched an interview with him a couple of days ago. But you know what I mean? Like, he's the master of that internal dialogue stuff. But this is an internal dialogue. You're literally in the dude's head. Yeah,
definitely. Also, I love the fact that you spend the first 10 minutes with no dialogue, and the first thing he ever says is, "Oh, fuck."
To rack down the gun that quickly and have the bags, put it in, and the helmet on, and he's like, it's impossible not to be seen, so don't be memorable. I stole this look off of a German tourist. No one pays attention to Germans, or they don't talk to them, or whatever. How he's waiting in line for the McDonald's, and he's like, this is a great place to get how many grams of protein for $1, and there's this many McDonald's in France, and all that stuff, and ordering things off eBay, and all of that kind of the procedural nature of what it would be to be a hitman, when you're hired to kill someone and you have to orchestrate it. It's not like he's just turning up and shooting a dude every time. Like, somebody's like, when was my last perfectly decent drowning? Like that kind of thing, or poisoning or whatever. It's whatever suits best for that person, and he's got to figure it out. And you're seeing the behind the scenes of that. Like, something as simple as where he's sitting in the van waiting for the FedEx guy that he organized from the Dominican Republic to drop off some letters to the lawyer's office that he's got to go in, or his handler's office, where he's got to go in and kill him. And he's drawing a recycle symbol on the badge, so that if someone glances at it, they'll see that he's got the bin, he's got the little badge thing, he must be with the recycling company. Or going to the storage unit, he's like, I've got 18 of these, and they're filled with the guns and the number plates and all of his passports and cash and everything, like that kind of. Because a hitman movie is normally like Leon the Professional or the movie Hitman, and you just see the action part of it. But this like the diary of a hitman is much more interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say that was an incredible Michael Fassbender impression. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you should see my huge cock as well. He is famously hung like a fucking stallion, mate. It's what's up.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Shame?
Fuck, I really have to know.
Do. Like, I'm not even joking. Everybody out there, go on your internet right now, pause the episode, goodness gracious, and type in Michael Fassbender Shame Penis. And it's not people like looking at his penis and going, shame on you. It's a movie called Shame with him and Kerry Mulligan, where he plays a sex addict. And it is the most luscious hog you have ever seen. The year that movie came out, he got absolutely just raked over the coals at the Golden Globes, like for having this enormous dong. Charlize Theron said, "You've got a beautiful penis. I'd love to work with it sometime," or what? You know what I mean? Like something, a variation of that, or whatever. But yeah, it's incredible. What movie are we talking about again? So yeah, you kind of feel like you're in his pocket the whole time, and you're following these things, and yeah, just little simple things like on the drive back from cleaning the van out, he stops and gets a hard-boiled egg from a service station.
Yeah,
the minutiae of what it takes. He's eating the food thing is a particular thing because he's like. He's the kind of guy, at the end he makes that beautiful cup of coffee with the little lemon and a biscuit for his friend, and then he just sort of sits there. Like he would only eat when it contributes to his energy, and he that's why he takes the carbs out of that bun. He's been stationary for 4 days. He doesn't need carbohydrates. He needs protein to maintain muscle mass and energy. He doesn't need the carbs because he's not going to be running or anything, like. It's a real, and you sort of find out that he was a lawyer and he was studying that, and then it was like, actually, you'd be much better as a hitman, and that you never get that history. Like it's so, the whole film is second act. You really don't see, his beginnings or his ends.
Yeah, like the first 30 minutes is just the Paris job that goes wrong. Like 25 minutes.
That's chapter 1 is Paris, the target. Where he gets sent out on this hit, and for some reason, just this time, breathes that little bit later than he should, and pulls that trigger and ends up hitting a
She's called a dominatrix in the film. Like she's credited as a dominatrix.
I was trying to think of the escort was the word I was looking for, but and he clips her instead of the hit. You also don't find out who that person was.
Yeah,
that he was supposed to hit. He was just a greasy old dude, and you also don't find out when you come to the end when we get to Chicago and it's the client, and it's this look like sort of Steve Jobs style billionaire, ironically enough, because Thingo played Steve Jobs, where he's. Wearing sweatshorts and going to a really prestigious gym and all that stuff, but he's just looks like a dude, kind of billionaire, those kind of ragged looking billionaires. But you don't really find out what he does, and you don't find out why he needed this other person killed. You just find out that he got told that it didn't go well, and they said there's procedures that need to take place now, and he said, okay, I'll pay for those procedures because that seems to be the shit that you got to do. And that procedure was, it's supposed to be to kill the killer, and that's sort of what. And he says it. He's like, a person turns up to your house with a silenced pistol, and you don't have any idea why they might be here. Like, you should probably think about that, because if you don't know why I'm here, there could be a lot of reasons why I'm here, and that's fucked up.
Yep. I also love that it's always one-sided. Like I love the fact that you don't know the people that he's trying to kill. And except for like the two that he does, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, even less. Like you the lawyer is his handler basically, and that the woman who works for him is like a witness, plain and simple. And he has no qualms about it. It's like the cab driver when he's back in the Dominican Republic, and he finds the cab dispatcher and goes in and fakes a robbery so he can get this kid's name, and then ends up just shooting him and again faking a robbery because he doesn't care. He's no crimes about killing whoever. It was like, you contributed to this and to my lady friend getting hurt. And he gets the information he needs, and that's it. He gets clipped. But it's like you said in your Letterboxd review, you shouldn't like him. There's no reason you should like him.
Yeah, but like that's the charisma of Michael Fassbender and the way that the character is written. It's so. Also, I'm getting confused. Is it based on a graphic novel or a novel?
It's a series of graphic novels by a French artist whose name escapes me. You keep talking, I'll just quickly look it up, so I don't want to not give credit to someone who did good work. Yeah, because I haven't read any of them.
Yeah, I haven't either, but it feels so much like a graphic novel or like an adaptation of a text, especially with the voiceovers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. And Andrew Kevin Walker, who did the screenplay for it, is a big fan, and he said that's, they went through, and there's actually even more that they like added, to have it be so that it's like, it's not even a POV of his life.
Oh yeah,
like, in terms of a POV, like in a movie, it's the person who's not actual perspective you're looking through as if you're looking through their eyes, but whose perspective the film is from. And even more so in The Killer, you're basically in his shoes the whole time. The graphic novel was written by Alexis Nolent, and it was the illustrator was Locke Jacquemont. Or Jacquemont. I'm pronouncing the J with the little French loop there. But yeah.
And French people are amazing because they got fucking Tintin, they got Arcane, now they got The Killer.
Tintin's Belgian.
Is he? Shit.
Yeah, they speak French in Belgium. Belgia? You know that country, Belgia? A couple of things I found really interesting about the technique behind this film is it was shot spherically with spherical lenses as opposed to anamorphic lenses. Anamorphic lenses give you that beautiful like oval stretch of the bokeh and lens flare. This film was shot spherically, and they added lens flare as an aesthetic, and all of the handheld shots, all that handheld work is done in post.
What?
Yep.
What?
Can you fucking believe it? Because I assume because Fincher is so exacting. And he, there's a Steadicam work and stuff like that, but that especially where he turns up to his house, where he sees the cigarette butts on the ground, and he knows that someone's been in the house, and then he jumps over the fence, and then as he's running up, and you hear the Portishead song playing in the background on his speaker system, and he's running. Yeah, I'm assuming that was probably Steadicam to track with him, and then they've pushed in on a 12K or an 8K frame and given it shake so that it had a bit more sort of immediacy. I love that shit.
Oh my God. That's so cool.
I know, right? He's such a great technician, David Fincher. I love his movies for that, the exacting nature of what he does and the specificity and how he understands the frame and the lenses to use, and he allows things to be dark. The fight in Florida, Chapter 4, The Brute, where he goes after the thug who beat up his lady friend. I'm only calling it that because I don't know what else it is, what else to call it. But and that fight is just absolutely knock down, drag out, brutal. But a lot of it's in darkness. You're seeing silhouettes of people fight. But that's what's up. Like, that's what it is. Your eye. That's how your eyes work. Not everything's always bright.
Yeah. I love the fact that, like, also there's kind of like a theory. Like, it's not something that they show, but I love that his prayer of like every time he goes to kill, like, his prayer is to, be anticipate, don't improvise. Yeah, he's always improvising when he's killing, so he's kind of lying to himself just to make him feel better.
Yeah, but it's that thing of like, Monday I'll do better. Monday I'll work out more. I'll eat better or whatever. Like, it's the lies you tell yourself, but you're locked into behavior a lot of the time, and that and that how's not giving a fuck going? Like that kind of thing is just, he's so human, and he behaves so alien. You know, even something as simple as, like I said, with the McMuffin. If you saw a person do that in the street, you'd be like, why is that person eating that's not a McMuffin, that's just a muck. Like, there's no muffin involved at all. Who gets the muffin, you know? And 2 bits of bacon, that doesn't normally happen. He's asked for that. Like, that's really specific. That's something you're locked into. Like, he just, you people catch you in things sometimes, and you say something, they're like, where'd that come from? And you have no fucking idea where it came from. Like, I do it all the time. I say, I must tell you. If I think something is important to tell you, or if it comes at the end of a sentence and we weren't talking about it, but it's triggered in my mind, I go, I must tell you, you know, whatever it is. And I had no idea where that came from for years until I watched an old Billy Connolly show from like the early 90s where he's talking about, he says to the crowd, I must tell you about this thing. And I was like, well, fuck, that just stuck in there somehow.
Yeah.
So behaviorally, he's really, really human despite his peculiar way of doing things.
Like the Oreos?
Like the Oreos. Like the fucking Oreo cereal. That's blowing my mind, mate. That's blowing me fucking mind.
Yeah. Don't laugh at my Oreos, though. That's
don't
rude.
Don't fucking laugh at my Oreos. Son of a bitch. It's even better when you add that at the end. Hey, you do not laugh at my Oreos, you son of a bitch. Like, it's just... It's great.
I don't know why I imagine you saying that at a war park to like a 5-year-old who's just eating an ice cream.
I would. I give a shit. Give a shit. Oh, you're a kid. You're a toddler. I don't fucking care less. Take your annoying shoes with the wheels in them and get to fuck. Okay. I have to leave all this in because otherwise it's not going to make any sense. Like, if I take out the Oreo stuff at the start, no one's going to know what we're talking about when we bring it up all the time. It's a thread now. Anyway,
yes.
Sound design. What are you saying?
Sound design is fucking perfect.
Pretty spectacular. The way that his mental state adjusts it. Things become louder in places based on how he's behaving. And there's the one that I noticed was when he switched flights because he's paranoid and absolutely paranoid that someone's following him, the guy with the briefcase on that first plane. And then he like switches the thing and you know, gets the hotel room for the night and puts the glass on the door handles in case it, you know, falls and shatters to wake him up. And you know, there's the plane going over, and the plane going over, it goes, and it becomes someone saying, and this is your ticket for the next thing. And it cuts into that scene. Like auditory scene shifts, like the auditory transitions have so much more power than you think they do, but it happens all the time. Trust me, next time you sit down and watch a movie or a TV show in particular, wait and see how many cues for scene changes happen based on something that is either like in the score, so in the soundtrack, or something diegetic, like something actually in the scene that's happening. It's a miraculous technique, and I love it. Even looping things over the top of each other just so that there's a bit more of bleed in from one scene to the next. It's a real art to it. Sound designers deserve all the credit that they get because it really is a very difficult job. And to make everything level out properly and have it all match, you know, what the gun sound is compared to, in terms of volume, compared to his voice, and the voice is in his head, but it's in your head as well. So how is that affected? Like, it's really, really cool.
Yeah. I think my favorite, this is so weird, but my favorite piece of sound design is when he's assembling his sniper rifle, and he puts on the silencer, and you can hear it twist, and then you can hear it lock in place. It's so well done, and like it's
and
like,
you know, that's all like done after the fact as well. You know, like none of that's on set. You know.
Yeah, like it's not like it's not artificial. It's also so beautifully done that you accept it as being part of this world. You're like, oh, okay, this is why he's hearing. This is the and the click is important because he knows that it'll not move. But yeah, I like going back. I didn't go back to it, but I did try to revisit it. But I just got through like the Paris part, and I liked it more the second time.
Yeah, it does that.
Not only now do I know the pace of it, but also just like the way that he's like just monologuing, and you're like, oh, this is so great. Like I'm getting so much yet nothing. It's so masterful, but you know nothing about the person, yet you know everything about how he works.
It could be really obnoxious, or it could be they could have done it in a different way where, you know, half of it was to a disembodied person somewhere, like a handler or, you know, a third person, and he was the fact that he's constantly alone is really interesting as well. Like normally in hitman movies they develop some sort of relationship, like Leon ends up with Matilda, or in The Mechanic he ends up with Ben Foster, or Jules and Vincent in Pulp Fiction. Like they normally come in twos because they need someone to talk to, but this is all him in real time, you know, narrating his own life. And he said, and you fucking do that. You do people do that all the time. They just don't pay attention to the voice in their head in that way. Like you have thoughts constantly. As soon as you start thinking, you can't stop. And you kind of, you learn to tune that out through meditation and where things stop having names and you stop giving value to things based on those names. And that's where a true meditative state takes over. But until you're there, it is a constant going on, and it does feel like a different person. It feels like a disembodied voice a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know? And people call that conscience sometimes. I don't think that's necessarily what it is, but he certainly doesn't have one. So
He definitely does not.
no, absolutely. I mean, you don't like, and that's okay as well. Like it's okay for a person to, I think the reason that he has to get revenge for the young woman is because otherwise it would be completely nihilistic. You know, killing the cab driver and all that stuff it'd be cruel. You know, he's not Michael Myers. He's a professional hitman. He's not a serial killer. This is his job, you know. So it has to be that. He can't be just a mercenary, you know. Yeah, just thinking about like second to last chapter with Tilda Swinton, because we have to talk about Tilda. So New York, the expert, she's in the outskirts of New York as well, now that I know that place particularly well. I think she's upstate somewhere. This is, I don't know if I mentioned it when we were talking about it last episode before we decided to do this. It's one of my favorite dinner table scenes of all time, like the Heat scene, you know, the cafe scene between Pacino and De Niro. This is great, and he fucking says nothing. She just can't stop, and he is just staring her down. Tilda Swinton is fucking amazing in this film. Like she should have an Academy Award nod for Best Supporting, honestly. I mean, there's been shorter performances that have won. He didn't win, but William Hurt got nominated for History of Violence. He's in it for 3 minutes. Like it's such a strong performance, and you get her immediately. You know, she's a facilitator. That's what she does, and she puts people in a room together and makes shit happen, makes business happen. She talks about, you know, the guy in Florida, and she's like, it wouldn't have been my choice, but he's kind of hard to control. You know, I'm just middle management sort of thing, and that she looked like a Q-tip.
That was,
and the fantastic line of, he goes to take her purse and she's like, hey, and then she sits down and he's got the pistol and she's like, I know exactly who you are and why you're here. She doesn't say that, but you see it, and she's like, all these years of being careful, and now I'm regretting not having Haagen-Dazs after every meal.
Yep.
And then at the end of the scene, she says, you don't have any ice cream back there? And he's like, would you like to see a dessert menu? She's like, no, that's okay. After having a flight of whiskeys. Just such a beautiful scene about the nature of what it is to be, to work in a place where violence is currency. It's the bear joke, you know. Like at some point, you're not really there for the hunting, you know. At some point, you're here because this is part of who you are now, and that's absolutely what the end of the film says as well, where he's sitting there and he's like, you know, maybe if you feel that way, maybe you're just like me. You know, and his eye twitches a little bit, and it's like, well, no, he's never not going to be that, and that's the point she's trying to make. It doesn't matter how many people he kills, there is no end to this.
Yeah. I also don't believe, like, I love that scene, but I also don't believe that when he's on the receiving end of that, that he would think about her. I believe he shut off that part of himself, and in his methodology, it's gone on for too long where he doesn't, like, it's not there anymore. So yeah, and I don't think that, like, if he's on the receiving end of an assassin, he's gonna think about her. However, that fucking fight scene with the Brute was insane, because the things that you can see is, also the dog, man, Jesus.
I love the pre-production on a shoot. It's like, okay,
that's so true.
I hope
it's pre-production.
It is. It's pre-production. He's like, hope it's not a slumber party. Like, where all his mates are there and all that stuff. You know, there really should be a 30-day waiting period for creatine. Like, it's really very funny. And then he goes there, and it's this absolutely vicious fight, you know, unlike any he's probably ever been in, because he wouldn't be a close quarters guy. That's the distance is the thing. And yet he's kind of holding his own, despite the fact that he's like half, if they were in weight class.
Oh my God.
Like, Michael Fassbender is rake thin in this, and he is athletic, and he does these amazing fucking stretches at the beginning that are just like, how do you even put yourself into a pretzel, sir? But he'd be a welterweight. Like, he would be a really tiny in terms of boxing. And the other guy would be a heavyweight. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. The only reason that fight gets won is because he manages to get a gun.
He manages to get a gun, and I love that, because throughout the fight you can see him build distance between him and the Brute. So like by the end of it, when he's breaking down 2 doors to get to him, he's ready to shoot him.
Yeah, and he's like, he falls back on the table and like pierces his groin, and he's like bleeding, and he's like, "Is that Dominican Republic?"
Yeah.
You know, and usually, I love it, and he shoots him through the door. Like, usually nothing, mate. Usually shut the fuck up. He's all business. He's there to enact revenge, as in, you hurt my friend, I'm going to take your life. I'm not interested in monologuing at you about it. He doesn't say a fucking word to him. He says 2 words to Tilda, you know, and it's the great, like, the look on his face where she's like, it's just business, and he just sort of goes and gives her a tisk. Like, don't give me that fucking bullshit. Like, there was absolutely no need for you to rough up the woman you found at my place. Like, you could have left her alone and waited for me and killed us both. You didn't have to beat her up. Yeah, he doesn't need words with this guy. It's just like, no, I'm just going to shoot you on your toilet and good night, you know, and burn your fucking house down like a goddamn gangster. Like it was a fucking vampire's den. It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Those cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah, they don't. They walk away looking like an absolute pimp motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, but it's still quite, you know, there's still some really great humor in that, like with the dog and everything, but also, you know, where he's in the kitchen and he opens the drawer to get some sort of weapon and he comes out with a fucking lemon rind juicing thing, and he's like, oh, for God's sake. Yet he still chucks it at him. Like, that's excellent. That's great comedy, you know? Like, that's Fincher's sense of humor as well. He's so black and so twisted in terms of his what he finds funny. Gone Girl's hysterical in places.
I know. People don't think of it that way. It's hilarious. And like I remember David Fincher talking about like the hat, and he joked that like the production had to shut down for like 2 weeks because Ben Affleck wasn't happy with the hat that he was wearing because he wanted to represent a different team. That was a joke that he made, right? Yeah. And people thought it was real.
Yeah,
they got his back.
He's very dry as well. Like Zodiac's another one. The interplay between Robert Downey Jr. and Jake Gyllenhaal's character in that is fucking really funny. Like where they're sitting at the bar having a drink and Downey Jr. is like trying to say something, and Jake Gyllenhaal's got this huge drink that's bright blue and it's got fruit coming out of it and all this kind of shit. And he's like, I'm sorry, we need to discuss, what is this? And he's like, You wouldn't laugh if you tried it. And it hard cuts to them sitting at another table and there's 3 empty ones in front of Downey Jr. Like, that's fucking hysterical, especially considering the character that he's playing was a raging alcoholic. Like, that's dark comedy. And I fucking really appreciate that he managed to get some into a movie that's about a monosyllabic in character hitman who just can't shut up the voices in his head.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just now realizing like how funny. Oh fuck, I have to rewatch it now because like I'll miss the funny bits.
Well, you do. It really does benefit from multiple watches, which is why it's great on streaming. Because you can just like pop it on, jump to a scene and just enjoy that particular section of the story, the chapters and all that stuff. But it does benefit from a watch, especially. Michael Fassbender is probably one of the top 5 most talented male actors working today. He just consistently puts out really interesting character work, and he's really, really dedicated to his craft as well. It's not. He's done some big movies, but I don't think that's not of consequence to him at all. I think he takes on jobs that he thinks will be rich and fulfilling for him as a professional actor. So I love him, and you do get so much more out of his performance the more you watch it because it is really specific. He's doing a lot of really specific shit.
I think every big movie that has Michael Fassbender always benefits from it. Like, the X-Men movies are a prime example of it. Like, most of those storylines aren't very, very good, but Fassbender and McCoy are the reason why those films work.
His stuff at the beginning of First Class, where he's just going around Nazi hunting motherfuckers, is my favorite part of that movie. He's where he's having the beer with the guys who are, my family was killed by butchers and then the fucking knife kills the guy and then he gets it and stabs the guy in the hand. Like, just the intensity that he brings to that role that would absolutely be there. I love him in Inglourious Bastards.
Yes.
He's really great in that. Shame is an absolutely outstanding picture. Like, all jokes aside, like, you do see his penis a lot in that, but it is a really, really powerful film. It's hard. It's not an easy watch. It asks a lot of you as an audience member, and you won't forget it. That's for damn sure. But it's what cinema's made for. It's to make you feel something really powerful, really viscerally. And that's what The Killer does as well. Like, this movie moved me. It made me laugh. It made me like grateful that I'm part of an industry that could, in whatever small part, I'm part of a profession, or I am working the same profession as a group of people who could make something this excellent in a time when this is not the stuff that gets made. Like, I know it's an adaptation of a graphic novel, but this is by no means it would not have happened if it was not for Netflix. You've got to give them credit for signing Fincher and going, do whatever you want, man. Like, we'll back it all. We're happy to have you just come and produce the shit you want, and we'll sign all the checks. Because otherwise, this doesn't get made in the marketplace that it's in, because it is so nihilistic. It's why the Punisher TV series didn't work. People don't want that from their characters, because everybody's so fucking soft now. But yeah, I love it so much. It's absolutely excellent. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. You can probably get it on Blu-ray or DVD. I honestly don't know. I just go back to Netflix now and again watch it. Let's do some favorite bits.
Let's not do favorite bits. Let's do favorite kills.
Favorite kills. Nice one. Excellent. All right, well, you go first. Number 1. Oh, number 3.
Number 3. Honestly, number 3 is the guy in the taxi, the taxi driver, because he kills him mid conversation.
Yeah, he's like, I'll leave the keys and I'll get out and beep, and that's it. Just like, he doesn't even. He's in the middle of thought and he's like, shut up. Like, doesn't want to hear this guy talk any longer. Yeah. And then takes his fucking radio. What an indignity. Number 3 is the kindness that he shows the secretary, where he kidnaps her, takes her back to her place to get the documentation as to who ordered the hit, so that he could then go and reverse engineer it and find out who ordered the hit on him. And she's like, I've got kids, they need my life insurance, make it look like an accident. And you get the idea that he's going to let her live because it takes away, and then just snaps her neck at the top of the stairs and pushes her down. I was so not expecting it. I jumped in the cinema, and movies don't do that to me because you can anticipate things. There's ways that things get cut or the way sound design works that you kind of feel them on their way. But that didn't happen at all during this film. So yeah, poor secretary lady snap neck, number 3.
Yeah. My number 2 is like when he takes down the brute. Like,
yes,
it's so badass. It's also, you see the discomfort that he's in because he's not a hand-to-hand guy. So he's grasping at every single option to get away from him. And the more distance he puts between them, the more confidence he gains.
That's such an awesome thing that you pointed out that I hadn't thought of until now. I've seen the movie half a dozen times at least. I said a dozen last episode. That was an exaggeration, but I looked at Letterboxd. It was 6, I think. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that like it starts close quarters and then he slowly creates more and more distance until he can get far away and get back to where he's comfortable, which is at the end of a pistol,
I love that he blew up the house because he is that vengeful, because fuck you for doing that.
Yeah, and also he's methodical. He's getting rid of evidence. So his DNA would have been all over the place.
Yeah.
The scene after where he's getting on the plane and the guy looks at him and he's all beat up and he's like, have a good flight. Then you see him in the shower in the executive lounge and he's just like, fuck. And then having a kip on the plane. Like, it's so accurate to what would happen if you got your ass handed to you by a huge Floridian, All
right, you're number 1. And number 2.
Number two is again he just goes into a lawyer's office and the lawyer just won't shut up trying to talk his way out of it, and he just fucking puts a nail gun, 3 nails through his lungs, and miscalculates like him based on weight and his cardiovascular health and all that kind of stuff, and the guy just dies and he's like, oh shit. It's fucking great. Really cool. And then as they're wheeling him out in the big bin and the guy makes the joke, he goes, getting rid of the body, and she goes, because she knows that that's what's in there. Really, really fun. Liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh my god. See, that's fucking... I even forgot about that.
That's really funny, right? You get more of the comedy as you go along.
You took my number 1. Because that's my number 1.
Is that your number 1?
Because the disappointment he feels when he realizes that he won't be able to answer the questions.
Yeah.
He even has 911 on the phone as if that's going to do anything.
Yeah, it's hysterical. It's also hysterical that he listens to the Smiths.
It's so hysterical. But it's also, it's more hysterical because he's listening to them every single moment that he's alone.
Yeah, and it's also they wanted to have some sort of music to kind of like keep him calm or whatever. And that was Trent Reznor's idea, who wrote the score with Atticus Ross. He was like, wouldn't it be funny if he listened to the Smiths? And everyone pissed themselves. Like him and Andrew Kevin Walker and David Fincher were all like, that's hysterical. It has to be. Like, what an incongruous thing to happen. For a hitman, if you listen to the Smiths, like some of the most deep, emotional shit that you can possibly listen to, and he's calculating killer. He might as well have been listening to the fucking themes. He might have been listening to the goddamn Chipmunks that you were talking about before.
I wasn't talking about Chipmunks. I was talking about Critical Role. Thank you very much.
We got to Chipmunks from there. Hey man, we got to fucking having sex with Oreos or whatever happened.
We didn't. Oh my god, we did not go to having sex with Oreos. No,
that didn't happen.
No, not yet. No, it did.
Not yet. No, we haven't had sex with Oreos. Not yet. It's only a matter of time. Everybody ends up there eventually. It's like sex mecca. Okay.
Hey, stop laughing at my Oreos.
Stop laughing at my fucking Oreos, you son of a bitch. Okay.
God,
Number 1
we need
for
that
you
shirt.
was... We do. I think we desperately need it. The Film Addicts podcast presents Stop Laughing at My Oreos, you son of a bitch. Number 1 for you is lawyer. Number one for me is whoever the fuck he killed with the snake that's in the opening credits. You know the opening credits that like kind of flip on screen like Venetian blinds?
Yeah.
And it shows all these different methodologies of killing. One of them's him putting a snake into a bed.
What? Really?
Yeah, man. Go back and check it out. Yeah.
I missed that. Shit.
Another one Yeah, whatever he did to that person, because fuck that shit. Absolutely not. Snakes can kiss the roundest part of my ass.
That's the hole. You don't want a snake near that. I'm so sorry.
That's a pretty good argument. And on that note, that's The Killer, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it, the episode, as well as the film, if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, sorry we fucking ruined it all. What do you want to talk about? More holes?
No. I wanted to say let's do one moment that's not a killing that really stood out to you.
Oh, sure. Okay. Did you have one?
Yeah, it's him getting away from like the fuck up that happens in Paris, and like the entire sequence with the scooter. I don't know what else he called it.
The where he sort of gets on it, and then he gets rid of the gun in the grate, and he throws his go bag, and then he drops his helmet into the water. And what would John Wilkes Booth do? Like, that's really funny as well. Yeah, it's excellent. I really love the deconstructing a McMuffin. I think that's so interesting. I think that's such an interesting character thing. Like, it's the thing that I couldn't stop thinking about after I saw it the first time. I was like, why haven't I ever... I mean, I don't eat bacon or eggs anymore, but when I did, why didn't I ever do that? That's brilliant. Delicious, But it's also so indicative of his character. Like I said, like, he'd be counting that he would know how much energy he would get from that protein and what that protein would do for the energy that he lost, and he doesn't need the carbs. And it's a really, really interesting little tidbit that has nothing to do with anything really of the story, but I liked it.
Also, I love the fact that he says that he's taken, like, it's so rare that we see him speak, and every time he's speaking, he's like, his head is down so they can't see what he looks like. Like, even when he's rolling in with the bin, like, his hands are in the back, and he calls out to the man in front, and he's wearing a cap that's like covering half of his face. Yeah. It's very methodical.
Well, everybody, do we have any questions?
I think so.
Fabulous. We're going to do a few of them and get the fuck out of here. What are the questions for this day?
Chaz asks, what random travel accessory would be a fun weapon to see in an action scene for a kill?
I was just doing a lot of traveling.
And you cannot say Swiss knife because that's too easy.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm trying to think of something like completely innocuous. Tiny little toothbrush. Little teeny tiny toothpaste. Like, in the guy's eye, and then you stab him to death with a little toothbrush. That's the best way, I reckon. Either that or the power adapters, how it goes from your country to the country that you're in, and you can still plug things in. 2 of those either side of the temple, squished.
I'd say like a big perfume bottle. Well, not like this big, but like a big perfume bottle, right? That's like, it's glass, so you can like break it on their head.
Yeah.
And while they're unconscious, just like...
Cold-blooded, man. Holy shit. And you get a big one from Duty Free?
Yeah. So
like a proper one? Yeah.
There's no like
oh, what's that? Ralph Lauren? And then smash, stabbity. And then everyone's like, man, that dead body smells nice.
Yeah. You get rid of the worst part about a dead body. The smell.
We can't tell when rigor mortis set in because it smells like fucking oak wood and flowers.
Also, if it's like a really expensive one, you could break the bottle and be very careful with it, as when you can like lay the body where their perfume spilled, and then you can light it on fire.
Yes, flammable also. You've thought this through. That's a kill and a dispose of the body in one go. Addie's a hit person. Excellent. Well, thank you, Chaz. Thank you again for always involving yourself, and thank you to you, dear listener. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll be back next week with something else fun. But I love you, buddy.
Oh, me too, man.
Thanks for doing this episode. I'm so glad that you got to see The Killer and we got to chat about it.
Yeah, I love the fact that like usually we have 30 minutes of the segments, and this time it was an hour.
Yeah. Well, it's 30 minutes of segments and half an hour of us behaving ridiculously because of silly Oreo jokes. But hey, I think that's why everybody's here. So thanks again, folks. And remember...
stay amazing. Stay safe. Don't laugh at my Oreos.
You son of a bitch.